What's up, everybody? Absolutely Absurd here, coming at you guys with another video. Today we are doing a full Fahkumram guide. This guide is going to go over everything you need to know about Fahkumram. I spent the last 3.5 hours figuring out this character nonstop, and I have a guide prepared for you and an anti-guide. So if you want to know what this character is all about, so that you can get into this character, or if you want to know how to fight him when you inevitably go into your ranked matches tomorrow when maintenance is over, this video is going to be for you. So make sure to go ahead and like, subscribe. Let's get right into it. If you want a quick summary of everything that I'm going to say, I have my notes here that I've taken that I'm going to be going off of. So if you want to just like take a look at this is also going to be in the description if you just want to copy and paste them. If you just want a really quick rundown and kind of figure the rest out for yourself, but I'm going to be going off of this and then kind of going into more detail. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So starting with his punishment, we have his 1-4. His 1-4 is, decent damage, 22 frame 2 damage, plus 8 on hit, pretty solid. He doesn't have an 11 frame punish. His 12 frame punish is 2-1, 33 damage, wall splats, knockdown, really solid. His 13 frame is the same. You don't want to use this. This is not a good 13 frame punish. This is less damage, and plus 7 is not as good as a knockdown. Also, again, this will wall splat, so this is good to get your muscle memory in case someone does something minus at their wall. You can just do that. 14, you have two options. You have, do not do this though. This is literally never a good punish ever, right? Don't do this. There's a couple reasons why. One is that it just doesn't do as much damage as back 2-1. Back 2-1 does 42 damage, even if you're already in heat. This only does 39, right? Or if you do this, I guess this does more damage, but you have to use your whole heat and your Garuda for that. So the only time you should do this is if you haven't used your heat bar yet and you are trying to kill your opponent off of something -2. Like if you're in heat, you're trying to kill your opponent off of something -14, then you can do this, but that's the only scenario. Otherwise, stick with just back 2, or you can do back 1 into forward 1 plus 2 if you want to get Garuda. Because again, even though this gives heat and still gives you Garuda, it still does less damage than this. So yeah, those are his 14 frame punishes, and that's when you want to use them. For 15, we have just standard launcher, his down forward 2-3. The only time you would use down forward 1-4 is if you're at the wall, because it wall splats. So if we go to the wall, like if we do this, you can still convert, but it's like a little bit awkward. Like, it's just way easier to just take the wall splat. Like, this is so much easier for a combo. And, you have your wall combo, which I'll talk about later. And then lastly, we have your Rage Art punish, which is back forward 4. In this patch, Rage Arts were made -18. Hooray. So now everyone can launch punish it. So if your opponent does a Rage Art, then you can punish it with your jet kick. So I just want to demonstrate that really quick. See how on the left how I said punish? That was a punish. So if your opponent Rage Arts you, just hit him with this. Or if you want extra leniency, you could go for down forward 2-3 still, I guess, if you really wanted to, just to make sure you don't mess up. But if the opponent, say they have Rage and they gained a lot of gray life back, and so they have a decent amount of health, jet kick is optimal punish, so I would just recommend just doing that to punish Rage Arts. As for lows, 11 frame punish is standard while standing 4. Nothing really to write home about, except that this has pretty good range. Yeah, while standing 1-2 is your 13 frame punish. Your while standing 2-4 into forward 1 plus 2 is your 14 frame punish, And your launch punish is just a standard while standing 3. Standard while standing punish, don't need to write home out there. Alright, now moving into the rest of his moveset, the next thing I want to explain is how his feints work, because that will make the rest of his move list way easier to understand. Both as an attacker and a defender, understanding how his feints work makes this character so much easier. So, Fahkumram has certain attacks that he can feint, right? So this second kick right here, this here, what I call the kick feint, because you're feinting a kick attack. This here, the second attack right here can be feinted. This can be feinted in a bunch of different stuff. We'll talk about that soon. And then this knee right here, the second knee, this can be feinted in a lot of different stuff. And so since they can be feinted into a lot of similar stuff, we'll talk about their similarities first. So both of these feints can be feinted into a mid that can be charged. On block, this is the knee feint because we're feinting a knee. This mid is -7, and the kick feint is -5. So the kick feint is -5, and the knee feint is -7. If you charge them, they both become -9. They both become -9 with pushback. You can feint the charged attack as well. So you can hold back on the charge to get a mid tracking option that is always -7, regardless of how you feint it. Both same speed, it's the same move basically. Or you can hold forward to cancel into crouch. So that is good as well. You can cancel into crouch, so you can get your full crouch game going, or you can do your while standing game going. Their only main difference is the other options you have out of kick feint and knee feint. So knee feint can go into a plus on block high tracking option to stop the opponent from stepping to the right, as well as allowing you to keep your turn. And the kick feint doesn't really have other options. It's just this. The knee feint is special, I guess. So the knee feint is just better. But yeah, those are how those moves works. Treat those as stances. So when I say something goes into knee feint, that means this. That means it can do either this move, or it can do this charge, or it can do this, or it can do this. It's like a stance, right? Same thing if I say kick feint. If I say this goes into kick feint, that means it can do this knee right here, or it can do this. Or it can do this, right? It's just like a stance. Treat it like so. All right, now into the pokes. We have Fahkumram's jab. Fahkumram has a 1-1, which is a true confirm on counter hit. I'll have it set like this. On counter hit, it is true. Second hit is -9, so it is safe, but you're putting yourself at -9 point blank, so not the wisest thing to just end with or just throw out there, especially when his 1-2 jails. So if this gets blocked, you could just go for -3 instead. He has an extension, which is 1-2-4. The opponent will get counter hit if they try to interrupt. Let's change this from Rage Art to Jab. They get interrupted right there. And that also combos into the 3. You could also, if you set this to, that also counter hits right there. And it gives you a free follow-up. However, both of these options can be ducked. You can see from both the second hit and the third hit, they can be ducked. And so if you want to stop the opponent from ducking, you have a 1-2-1. But it is, you know, a poor man's Brian's 1-2-1. It is Brian's 1-2-1 at home. On counter hit, it does nothing. It just gives you +3. And on normal hit, it just gives you +3. So it doesn't do anything on counter hit. The only thing really significant about this string is that from the 4 option, you have the kick feint. So you can go into this. You can go into that. You can go into the while standing. That's gonna mess people up online, I guarantee you. But you can do tricky stuff like that. You hard call your opponent out on a duck. You can do that, or you can keep it a little bit safer. Go for your while standing 2-1. So that's an option that he has. His standing 3 is one of his best moves for sure. Look at this range. This range is insane. 13 frames, mid, -9. But he has so many extensions. Let's walk through all these extensions. You have 3-1. If the opponent tries to press, they get hit. Now, if they try to, you might say, oh, well, what if they go for a dick jab? It still clips them, as we can see. Right? Now, what if they try to duck this high, or let's say they try to duck this, we have this mid follow-up right here. And that knee probably looks familiar. We'll come back to that. But we do have this knee follow-up right here. If this lands on counter hit, you get a free follow-up. And if you're in Garuda, you can do that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's really cool. So the opponent pressing here is obviously very risky, right? We have a safe way to check that. We have a riskier way to check that. You know, we have options, right? So maybe you wait a little bit for your punish, right? You can dig jab that, but we have this mid option. Also stop. Now the mid option is unsafe. Then we have this high option that's 0 that also confirms on counter hit. So if we go for this and we clip you the first time, this is just a true confirm. That still gives us Garuda. It's super good. And again, you already know what happens if we already have Garuda. 66 damage because you pressed. Then if you try to duck, that also combos on counter hit. We have that. Wall splats. So super, super strong pressure we get. And again, those aren't the only strings. We also can go into knee feint. So we can go into this to stop you from trying to step and take our turn back. And because this is +3, we can go right back into teep. You can abuse an opponent like this that just refuses to press, right? We also have options like that to make the opponent want to press. That's +9, so we can do that as well afterwards. You can easily make the opponent want to press with mix-ups like so. Like you can easily just make the opponent want to to press. And that's when these options come in. And so that's why his teep is so powerful. You get similar options from his down forward 1. His down forward 1 is slower and has less reach, as you can see. Down forward 1 is not hitting from here. His standing 3, which is called a teep, by the way, in real Muay Thai. So if I say teep, this is what I mean. His down forward 1 is just not as good for pressure, even though it has better frames by itself on block, so it's a better for pressure by itself. When it comes to strings, it can go into knee feint stuff, but its extensions aren't as good. So your options from teep are just safer from standing 3. It's just safer. So down 3 can be a good poke by itself. The last poke that I want to talk about for his mids is just down 1. Down 1 is really good. It's only -5. What is super good about this move is its frames on hit and counter hit. So on hit, you get a massive +8. So you damn near get a frame trap into your while standing or your full crouch low. And you can frame trap into all of your mid options. I believe it also forces your opponent into crouch as well. So if your opponent presses a while standing option, this is going to trade. Like a while standing 4 or something like that. If they press a while standing option, this is going to trade, and that's really good. But also on counter hit, you get a free while standing 1 too, which is really good. And if you're already in heat, huge damage. Huge damage. That's almost a third of the opponent's life because they got counter hit by an 18 frame mid. Really strong. So, those are kind of the main pokes that you're going to be using for mids. For your low pokes, you have down 4, 14 frames, -4 on hit. But we all know on counter hit, it gives the extension. So this is a really good low. I would mostly use this to try to fish for counter hits with this, because this is launch punishable, right? This is -15. So if this gets blocked, you can blow up. So if you're just trying to poke, you can do ones that have less risk, right? Like this. This is -13. Much better than straight up getting launched, right? And this could also be faked into plus frames. We'll talk about that. You have forward 3, -14. Again, launch for some characters, but for quite a bit of the cast, it's not going to be launch. This is even safer. These are just safer options right here. Use this kind of like you would use a Victor down 4, just to try to call out, try to fish for a counter hit. Those are like the main lows that I would be using with Fahkumram, mostly just this, this, and this right here. If you want plus frames, if you're trying to create pressure, his main moves is going to be his while running 3, standard while running move, easily steppable to both sides. His jet kick, +6. This is really good because it stops the opponent from stepping to the left. So this tracks that really well. A lot of Fahkumram's moves, like miss, they step that way. So this is one of his few moves that tracks really well to this side. So that can be really good as well, just for stopping the opponent from stepping in that direction specifically. Now if they sidewalk to the right, they'll dodge it clean. So if you want to stop the opponent from sidewalking right, you have your 3+4 instead. That actually reminds me, that's one poke that I forgot to talk about, which is 3+4. This is also another good counter hit tool. It's like Brian's 3+4. It's basically the same move. I don't think it has as much range or as much pushback, but still really good, very damaging, very solid move. It's like Heihachi's back 3. Or is it back 4? I can't remember which button it is, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You can also go for forward 4, but this move is punchable on block. You can go for a feint, which deals chip damage, mid, safe, but it is really slow. And there is this low option, but this is absolute garbage without Garuda Impact, so never do this if you don't have, not Garuda Impact, I'm thinking of a different game. Don't ever do this without the Garuda Force, right? Don't ever do this without Garuda Force. You also have forward 3 for plus frames, if you're trying to create, or forward 4 for plus frames. If you're trying to create pressure, this is also very, very solid for creating pressure. So that's also really good. Now we have Garuda. Garuda is his DLC bullshit install that this character has. You get it the moment you enter heat, or you get it from landing certain moves, those being down forward 1-2, which is mostly just a combo ender. Back 4-3-2, which is also just a combo ender. Forward 1+2, which can be a decent whiff punisher, but is mostly just going to be used after landing certain extensions. Like back 1, for example. It's just going to be used as like a ground pickup. This can also be used as like your steel pedal. You have his punch parry. Timing has to be pretty specific, but you just get Garuda at +7. That's going to be your ways into Garuda. Obviously, of course, you have all of your heat options. So what does Garuda do? What Garuda does is that some of your options are empowered, right? So first of all, that terrible hellsweep that we mentioned, this garbage move, this move that takes 1,000 years, only gives you +1, and is launch punishable on block. This becomes an actual hellsweep with Garuda. Without this, this is not a real combo. Did you see that? The opponent can block even after getting hit. So this is just terrible. Why would you ever do this? When you have Garuda, though, this is a real hellsweep. So this becomes scary. Of course, you have this to mix it up with, as well as this. This mix-up actually becomes a lot scarier. This also breaks the wall. So this is an incredibly deadly option when he has this. So you want to go ahead and keep that in mind. Another thing that he gets from Garuda is his guard breaks. Remember those charged up moves that I mentioned? They become tornado-less launchers. They're launchers without Garuda, but they immediately use your tornado. With Garuda, they don't use your tornado at all. But most importantly is the effect they gain on block. If you block one of these, you will enter his guard break stance. We'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. And the last thing he gets is some of his other moves get extensions, specifically forward 2, 1, 2. This is +2 on block, but is sidesteppable to both sides, if I remember correctly. And then they sidewalk. Yep, sidewalk to the right. I think this does track to the left. Yep. So you always want to step Fahkumram to the right. You'll avoid that completely and get a clean back turn punish. So this isn't really that good unless the opponent doesn't know they can sidestep it. But yeah, the main threat of Garuda is going to be, you know, the guard break stuff and also this hell sweep. Another thing that you get when you're in either knee feint or kick feint is if you hold down, you also get a hell sweep, right? So you have this mid option, and now you have access to a low option as well. And of course you can charge it, so the opponent can't fuzzy guard this. because you can also just charge this too. And again, you have both options from both feints. So that's really really strong. So we're gonna go ahead and get into his guard break stance now. So his guard break stance, what can he do from this stance? His one option is first of all, don't press when he's doing this, okay? Don't press, right? Almost all of his options will kill you for pressing. So what you need to know about Garuda Impact as a defender is that you probably should not press in this scenario. His main mix-up beats pressing anyway. So just to show you, he is set to jab. Mid option wins. Low option wins. You're getting counter hit either way. So there's very little point. The only reason to do so is to stop yourself from getting hit with the unblockable, like so. Or if you think the throw's coming, then you can also press. So only think if an unblockable is coming should you press in this scenario. So let's say we try the usual option, which is sidewalking right. And let's go ahead and make sure that sidewalking is enabled here, right? The mid option wins. Low option wins. So you can't sidewalk this either. At least not to the right. Sidestep to the left. Oh, that seemed to get caught out. That gets caught out. That gets caught out. So Fahkumram doesn't even need to stop your stepping with this. He can just force a mid or low. He can just force the mid or low. So why would Fahkumram ever do the unblockable or the throw? The reason you want to do the unblockable is because of their properties. So for example, this breaks the wall. Or sorry, this breaks the floor. And this breaks the wall. So here you can get a full combo off of these, but again, the opponent has to press in this scenario. So that's the reason why you would do these options right here. Because of a floor break, and because of the wall break. That's why you would do these. Otherwise, if there's no wall or no floor, there's really no reason to do them. It's better to just stick with your mid option or your low option. So the mid option does 45 damage. It's its most damaging option. The low option does 31. If you want to minimize how much this hurts you, stand blocking and waiting to react to an unblockable is the way to, take the least amount of damage from this mix-up. But this still is a really strong mix-up that Fahkumram has. So, and now, last but not least, we're going to go ahead and get into his combo theory. What's up, guys? Absolutely Absurd from the future here. Doing a quick, just wanted to insert some stuff that I forgot to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is Fahkumram's Heat Smash. It's really standard. It is a 16-frame Heat Smash that gives him +7 on block, does 50 damage, and breaks the wall. You can sidestep it to the right, but you cannot sidestep it to the left. I just wanted to show just how busted the range is. So remember how I used to complain about Jin's wall splat range? Yep. It's the same thing again. It's literally like, look at this ridiculous wall splat range. I'm gonna see if it can go even further. I wonder. Look at that! Look at that! Absolutely ridiculous range. Absolutely ridiculous range. Could say it's absolutely absurd. The next thing that I want to talk about is his other important combo extenders. Since we're getting into combo theory, I figured this would be the part to put this in. Fahkumram can access his hellsweep from while standing too. as well as you can access this mid feint. So this is important for combos. For example, it can be good for either ending combos if you have Garuda, or it can be good for just wall travels. So it's also could just be good for max damage. So for example, oops, I accidentally got Garuda. God damn it. Oh. And now I'm too close to the wall. But you guys get the point. It can be good for wall travel. Um, the same can be said about, or similar can be said about down forward 3, slide 4. This is a really good move to pick up after like your crumples. If you get it framed perfect, you can blue spark it. So this can also be really good. So putting both of these together, I just want to demonstrate how these can be used. So that's kind of how that might work. Although if you're good at the game, hopefully you'll get a blue spark. So, yep, back to the the past, which is technically going to be uploaded in the future. I don't know. Back to the present video. So I went ahead and switch the stage here to go ahead and make a better demonstration for the combos. I'm going to go ahead and move to the practice stage really quick, just so that we can get rid of the walls. This is going to be your standard wallless ender. This is the best that I could find. I wasn't able to find many good routes for Fahkumram that don't involve walls or don't have a heat burst involved. So it seems like with no resources, Fahkumram doesn't get too much damage. But we're going to see his combos improve a lot. So let's say we want to go ahead and do a heat burst. This is what we're going to go ahead and do. God dang. I don't know why I'm messing up now that I started recording, of course. And then after that, you're going to do your wall ender or your wall travel combo. Your wall travel options are forward 2-1, back 1 if the wall's really close, or you have down forward 4-3. So let's go ahead and showcase what that might look like by returning to our stage with walls. Oops. That micro dash is surprisingly strict. Yep. Then you do your wall combo, which can be back 4-3-2, or it can be forward 3-2-1, or forward 3-2-3 slide, or 4 slide 3. Forward 3-2-4 slide 3 is the best wall combo in that scenario. But back 4-3-2 does the same damage and also gives you Garuda, so you can do that if you just want to keep things simple. But that's an example of what your combo might look like if you want short wall travel there. To kind of give ourselves a bit more distance. Heat burst into heat engager. Normally you get this ender, but the pushback is actually too much for it to connect. So just so you guys can see. So I even did a micro dash first just to make sure, and it's just too far, so you don't get the extra damage from the last hit. So it's best to just go ahead and save the Garuda and just do forward 1+2 as your ender instead. So yeah, that's going to be all for this Fahkumram guide. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.